I'm Barbara Fredrickson. I am a faculty member at University of North Carolina, where I direct the Positive Emotions and Psychophysiology Lab.
Great. And I understand that you have two different presentations at this conference. Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about those?
Yeah. This morning I talked about my work on positivity more generally, and how positive emotions, these subtle, mild states of feeling grateful, feeling joyful, feeling amused, engaged, connected, a whole range of positive emotions obey two really key sort of laws of functioning. And one is that they fundamentally change the way our brains work. They open our awareness, expand our awareness, literally expanding our peripheral vision and allowing us to see the bigger picture of our lives. And when we are able to see that bigger picture, we're able to connect the dots and be more resilient, be more creative, see win-win opportunities, and instead of seeing things in terms of threat only. The benefits of this expanded mindset that comes with positive emotions over time accumulate and compound and build our resources for the better. So there are two key effects of positive emotions. One is that they change how we think in the moment, but that's a temporary effect. The long-lasting effect of positive emotions comes from having a steady diet of positive emotions in daily life. And then when we have that steady diet, little by little, these moments of openness help us become more resourceful, more resilient, more socially connected, and on the whole, better versions of ourselves. And so those two facets of positive emotions form the key pillars of my broaden and build theory of positive emotions, which explains why we humans have positive emotions in the first place, that they are intimately involved in creating intrinsic growth, that they help us get on a path of self-development, and we can use that knowledge as a way to understand how it is we can create change in our lives.
Okay. Well, you're making me very happy, because as a coach, an executive coach for a long time, I'm very focused and always have been on the idea that coaches constantly self-develop. In self-development, and keeping the focus on their own self-development as a way to increase their skill and their usefulness to their clients. How would a coach take your positivity material and begin to use it in their practice?
Right. I think that it's a way of recognizing that small moments, small gestures, and small interpretive shifts can unlock resources in the room, your own resources as a coach, and also the resources of the client. That sometimes to be able to take in an insight or adopt a more experimental attitude about trying to do something different requires that sense of safety and openness that a micro moment of positivity can offer. So coaches can use this as a way to navigate conversations and difficult issues, to try to know when to bring some lightness and levity into the process, or to bring some admiration to the table, ways that really help warm the context and create space where people can see more opportunities, more possibilities, and different ways of being in the world.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I've been noticing recently with some of my more difficult clients that if I even introduce the idea that there's a positive frame of something that they are, that it shifts the dynamic in the room. And I think that's probably what you're talking about.
That the science of positive emotions can help you see that the key gateways for creating a positive emotion out of thin air is an interpretive shift. And once we have the self-awareness to recognize that how I interpret my circumstances either lock me out of positive emotions or unlock them. And that there's a key connection between how we make sense of the world, or that make sense of our current circumstances, and that's either going to close the door or open the door to positive emotions. And in almost any situation, even the most dire, there's always a possibility of an interpretive shift. I mean, even if it's only to say, this too shall pass. You know, like, I can get through this, but it's not going to be continuing like in the same way, the same, difficult way, a week from now. This too shall pass. Or I think even more powerful in really difficult circumstances is, I'm not in this alone. And right here in the coaching session, you know that you're not in it alone, because you have the benefit of the coach to be a sounding board, or to help you think through things from different angles. So any situation where we're still breathing, there is a way to add in a different interpretive shift. Now that doesn't mean you paper over the difficulty or the suffering. It's just that you add in some threads of positivity to help you get some perspective.
What's linking in my mind is positivity and possibility.
Right.
As I listen to you.
Right.
It's really interesting.
Right. There's a way in which positive emotions really unlock possibilities. And we found that in our really very early work on the broadening effect, is that when you ask people in different emotional states, what do you want to do next? What do you want to do right now, given how you're feeling? When people are feeling positive, they come up with a long list of possible things they'd do next. And when they're feeling neutral, it's a shorter list. And when they're feeling negative, it's an even shorter list. Exactly.
If I'm remembering right, positivity was your previous book, and you now have a new one.
Yes.
Can you talk to me about that?
Yes. My latest book is Love 2.0, and my main message in this book is that we, as a culture, have a very narrow definition of love that is connected with romance and marriage and commitment, and we think of it as a big life achievement, or as these stable relationships. And what the science of emotions and connections helps reveal to me is that our moments of positive connection with others are so powerful that they're not just another good feeling, that they actually nourish our physical health, nourish our wisdom, nourish our ability to feel like we're connected to something larger, a larger purpose. That those micro moments of positive connection that we have with each other are not as simple as, oh, we really clicked, or we have a good rapport. They're so life-giving, those moments, in the same way that the right combination of sunlight, soil, and water nourishes plants. That those moments, micro moments of connection, are so nourishing to humans that we need to elevate our description of them, our cultural understanding of them. And that's why I think it's worth considering whether those micro moments are really where the action is with love. And that more micro moments like that certainly build up our trust, our commitment, and our relationships. But if you want to look at sort of what the bedrock of those bonds and relationships we have with others that we typically call love, they're built up of these micro moments of positive connection. But also, this perspective really liberates the experience of love from just being about our closest relationships. It suggests that any connection that you make with another person, whether it's a one-time connection, can be one that is life-giving and health-conferring to both you and the other person.
If I'm getting this right, I'm sorry I interrupted. It's kind of a redefinition and a reevaluation of what those moments mean.
Right.
And I would think in a coaching context that what we would want to do is begin to point out that awareness that this is happening,
right,
or focus on this happening, really has a lot of value. Is that right?
Exactly. I think that what a coach can uniquely work with is not only creating those micro moments in the coaching session, but also helping open people's eyes to the possibility of, grabbing the energy out of those moments. And for many who, again, think of their career or their life as a series of things they need to achieve, getting people to shift towards, well, yeah, achievement is one part of life, but these micro moments of connection are actually a fuel or a nourishment that can help you become more energized, more live in a more healthy way, and actually every time you have one of those moments of connection, you're not just getting health, you're giving health. And so there's a way in which you can become more generative in your community through those connections as well.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot during this conference about health and wellness coaching, and that being, sort of cutting edge and emerging within the field. And the question that I was going to ask you, I think you've already answered, which is how can our new health and wellness coaches guide their clients towards healthier lifestyles and mindsets? Well, there's the mindset right there.
Right. Well, one of the things that's interesting around health, we typically think of, am I eating right? Am I being physically active? Do you drink in a modest way and not use tobacco? I mean, those are the big health behaviors that, NIH is focused on. There hasn't been nearly enough focus on, am I connecting with people in a healthy way? And what we find is that our research shows that every connection that people experience on a daily basis in a way may serve as a tune-up to the cardiovascular system, as a way to improve our cardiovascular health. So we've known for so long that people with positive connections with others, positive relationships, seem to be buffered against heart disease, for instance. That's a big correlation. We've never been able to see how it is that having those relationships actually improves cardiovascular health. So we're kind of being able to see the pathways along the way. How do we get from
really exciting.
Positive relationships to health? And it suggests that our ability to create these positive connections is a health behavior. It's not just something that makes us feel good. So, and it's perhaps again reflecting that this is a basic need for survival, that when we tap into it, uplifts us and actually changes who we are at a physical level, right down to the very rhythms of our heart.
Right. Wow. What do you think the growing edges are in your work? Where are you going next? What are the frontiers?
What we're looking at now is the different biological effects of teaching people ways to self-generate positive emotions. And so we've just completed a larger study where we have done blood draws before and after. People take a 6-week workshop on a particular meditation practice, loving kindness meditation, which is a way to learn how to self-generate positive emotions. And what we're looking for is one, markers of inflammation to see if inflammation levels change. But more exciting for me is that we're looking at changes in gene expression in the immune system. There's good evidence to suggest that people's daily habits of connection and emotional habits may be getting into the cell and literally changing our cellular architecture in ways that make us physically healthier. So I have a great team of collaborators who are allowing me to look so much further into how our basic biology is changed when we learn to use these tools of self-generating positive emotions on a reliable basis, changing our daily diets of positivity.
It's very exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. We should know something about that before too long.
Very cool. If our member coaches want to begin to use this material, this newer material in their practice, how did they begin to access? Obviously, you have a new book, but
Right.
what can they do?
Right. Well, I've created a website to go along with Love 2.0, which is positivityresonance.com. And one of the things I get asked the most is, oh, I'm very interested in learning more about this meditation technique, loving kindness meditation. And there are all kinds of great resources on the web for that. But what I've done on this website is pull together some meditations that most fit the science and most fit what we've been teaching people in our scientific studies, so that people can get a good sense of how to start this practice in a way that is in line with what we've been studying in the lab. But in Love 2.0, I focus on all kinds of practices beyond meditation. I mean, meditation is sometimes the right thing for people if their interest is there, but it's not for everybody. It's a significant time commitment, maybe not as significant as what some people think it is. Our participants in our study devote about an hour a week to it, so across 15-minute meditation sessions. But I've also included many micro-moment practices, so that things that people can do, just different ways of shifting thought that you can do on a dime, just making a turn in a particular moment and trying to find ways to link that to habitual behavior as ways that can unlock some of the same processes. For example, we've done a study where we ask people at the end of the day to reflect on their 3 longest social interactions of the day and rate how connected and how attuned they felt with those that they interacted with. And simply asking that question and answering it every evening for several weeks increases people's positive emotions, gives people more energy, and improves their cardiovascular functioning. So that there are very subtle shifts that people can make in their thinking that can unlock some of this upward spiral positive potential.